Welcome back everyone, and today we've got an absolute legend, the legendary R32 GTR. These came out in 1989, and in the early 90s these took the motorsport world by storm. They were winning everything, and for good reason. They had a winning recipe of an RB26 engine, which is 2.6, inline 6, twin turbos, four-wheel drive, rear steer, and the technological advances of these cars was incredible and literally blew the competition out of the water. They're about 276 horsepower out the box, apparently, but that's down to Japan's gentleman's agreement. They actually roll in road at about a bit over 300, and because of the weight of these, they handled incredibly. And look at this thing. This is how an R32 should look. Gran Turismo days, this was the thing to have. You could turn it up to like 1,000 horsepower. Obviously, on a real car, you got to spend a lot of money to get that. But this one, it's got about 400. It's a spicy. Now, I hate to say it, but R32s are quite an old car now, and because of that and their heritage, it's very hard to get a stock one. This one, obviously it's not stock. It looks great, it's got OGT 37s, it's on coilovers, it's in the perfect colour in my opinion for an R32, and it's got loads of HKS bits, so it's over 400 horsepower, and that amount of power in this chassis is a winning recipe. So the real party piece of the R32 GTR is its power plant. When these came out, these literally blew the opposition out of the water and left them for dust. So 2.6 litre inline 6, two turbos, individual throttle bodies, but even though it's a turbo engine, it revs to 8,000 RPM. And in its day, that was unheard of. And these are so tunable. You can get nearly 1,000 horsepower, over 1,000 horsepower if you've got lots of money. And the drivetrain, that's an absolute masterpiece. The four-wheel drive is just incredible. Limited slip diff, you've got electronic torque splitting, and it can put every horsepower down. Now, I've been lucky enough to drive quite a few of these, and this is definitely one of the best examples I've driven. Its steering is so tight, and I think between 400 and 500 horsepower is the absolute sweet spot in one of these. It's just so good. The steering, whoever set this car up has done a very good job. The steering's lovely, suspension's great, the throttle feel, if I could actually say it, is really good. One thing these suffer with as well is the actual pedal box breaking up, actually on the clutch pivot, and then you get a really bad clutch pedal, but on this one it's perfect. You can tell it's all, the mileage is genuine. The wear in here is like perfect as well, like it's really good condition car, and it's, yeah, these always put a smile on my face. And with that rear steer as well, like it's just enough so you can get the car pointed into the corner perfectly when you're doing some spirited driving in Mexico. So yeah, good car. It sounds so good as well, like a straight 6, boosted. It's just all of the right noises. It's so good. Very lucky. I remember like using these on Gran Turismo, and they were just, they're the best. Unless you could get an Escudo Pikes Peak, they were obviously top tier. But you got Skyline, tuned it up with all your credits that you'd won. I mean, there wouldn't be much that's beating you. And even today, even though this is an old car, they can still hold their own. If you're throwing a lot of power at one of these, or just doing some grip driving with normal power, say like normal power's 400 like this one, there's not much that would keep up with you through the corners, because the cornering speed is so high due to the four-wheel drive, again that rear steer, and this chassis is so good. Because they're really light as well, they're mega. One of my good friends, Martin Richards, actually uses one of these as a drift car. Granted, it's got a Toyota JZ engine in it, and I think it's over 800 horsepower now. or near enough there, he can make that thing dance, and that is all down to this chassis. And again, that's proven in how many races this thing won when it came out. Mega car. So scores wise, this is a review series. What do we think of the R32 GTR? Now, appearance. Some people might argue this, but I've given it a 7 out of 10. Now that might be my age showing, because I prefer an R34. Like, the side profile on these is perfect. The back end, perfect. But the front end, meh, could have been better. I mean, an R34 is like really aggressive. Obviously this isn't an R34, but I feel like it could have been better. But again, that's its age, but we're being honest. Usability. I'm going to explain this one as well, because it's lower than some of you might think. 6 out of 10. So I've given it a 6, because if I was driving this every day, I'd be so scared of something breaking. Now, whether that's engine related, a suspension arm wearing out, something like that, or even the plastics inside. Like, this is over 30 years old now, so things are brittle, and to get parts, it's very difficult and becoming more and more expensive. The driving experience. I've driven a few of these, and I feel like the 400 horsepower to 500 horsepower mark is the sweet spot in one of these. You're not worried that the engine's being too highly stressed, and it can just deal with that power easily, and it's what you can use actually out on the roads without being on a private one or at a track. So yeah, this one is very good. So I've given it a 7.5 out of 10. This is definitely one of the better ones I've driven. It's really tight, the suspension's good, the wheel and tyre combo, and again the power, it's just spot on. Now value. This is high, 8.5 out of 10. I've given it an 8.5 because you can pick these up for around 40 grand. And for such a rare car, I think that is mega value, absolute mega value. We'll just let this car go past. Yeah, so around the 40 grand mark, you can get a really good example. So yeah, 8.5, I think that's strong. So overall, that gives us about 7.8 out of 10. I mean, don't judge my maths, but yeah, obviously these don't, maybe they haven't had that inflation yet like an R34 has. There's many reasons why that might be, but value for money, looks wise, power wise, if you can get a good one for around 40 grand, that's only gonna go up. Mega car.